This is going to be a slightly more in-depth video on my Palmetto Armory AR-15. So this one here, I put together using a separate lower, separate upper. I got the scope separately. I got the bolt, the magazine separately. The lower, the bolt, the upper are Palmetto Armory. That's True Glow. These were Magpul, the stock, the grip and stuff. So it is unloaded currently. If I pull the mag out, mag's empty, bolt's locked back, so it is unloaded. I checked it before I started. So let's start with the lower, I guess. Hold on, I gotta take it apart. Okay, so the lower here was the first thing I got. It's Palmetto Armory, standard lower. I got these extended takedown pins. These were Second Amendment, shall not be infringed takedown pins. I do not remember the name of the website. Actually, it was Battleborn's Best. There you go. So if you wanna, they were cheap. I think it was like $50 for everything I'm gonna show you here. It was pretty cheap, and these are definitely nice. So it's a Magpul stock. It has the friction lock. It has a little bit of rubber pad, nothing too crazy. It does have the QD sling, quick detach sling on both, or on this side, and you can flip it to the other side. Regular sling mounts, and it is a STR. There you go. I think I called it STL, or maybe I called it STR. I don't know. I might have called it the wrong thing in the other video, but I'll probably put it up because I did make a short on this. It was our polished trigger. Does feel pretty good. I won't dry fire it right now. I'll put it back together and then do that. Feels pretty good considering. Magpul grip. I actually prefer this over the... My brother has a SIG AR-15. I may make a video on it. I'm not sure yet. I prefer this over their grip a lot. If I remember right, it was a SIG grip. His gun actually cost way more than mine. And it has a lot more rattle to it, which I thought was kind of messed up. I originally had a Second Amendment shall not be infringed like trigger guard, but I couldn't get the pins out to put it in, so I may throw up a picture right now. But I have the Second Amendment thing here as well. Nothing too fancy. 6-position adjustable stock. Does have storage tubes here. These can be a little tricky to get out with one hand, but yeah, got storage tubes there. So that's pretty much it for the lower. Now for the upper. Okay, so for the upper, you saw that, right? Someone just tried to kill me. But for the upper here, this is a 16-inch barrel, mid-length gas system, standard upper. It came with the rear Magpul flip-up sight, and of course it already had the one on the front. 5.56 chambering, but you can shoot 223. That's what I'm shooting out of it now. Does have the forward assist, the dust cover, like I said, Second Amendment shall not be infringed. Oop, let's not knock it over. So what the other side looks like. There's the 5.56 NATO 1 7 twist. I think this was, yeah, the Freedom upper. I'll get back around the scope in just a second. Let me pull this bolt out. So here's the ambidextrous charging handle. I am right-handed, but I really wanted this charging handle because I did not like the stock charging handle. So this is one of the big reasons I got the kit. This was like, I think, $25, $30 by itself. And Battleborn's Best, I think I said that in this video, sells this, the extended takedown pins, which are very nice. These are so much easier to get in and out. The dust cover and all that kind of stuff. So this is just their standard bolt. It is not chrome lined on the inside here. I'm not going to take it apart, but it is not chrome lined. It's just their standard bolt, but it does fine. I have fired this, everything works fine. But with that bolt, I got 10 30-round magazines for, I think it was like $200, which isn't too bad, considering. I think the lower here was like 100 and no, I think the lower was like 230 roughly, and like $20 to pick it up from the gun shop. Because this is actually what has the serial number, this part here. So you have to get this from a gun shop. You have to have it sent to a gun shop, and then you can go pick it up. But I got this for like 230. This was like 200. The upper was like 100 and something, maybe 200. I don't even think it was 200. I think in total I spent about 600 on the gun, getting the gun to function, so the bolt, magazines, the lower and the upper. And then, like I said, the extras were like $50. The scope is like 160-ish. This is a True Glow 30 series, 1:6 scope. It's very nice considering. I didn't pay a whole lot for it. I got it off Amazon. I did some looking at them before. So it's very nice. It's pretty clear. It does illuminate red and green. Kind of wish that was a click knob and not just a twist knob, but I mean, it is pretty nice. I'm gonna see about maybe getting you a view through it, but I can't make no promises. Don't know how well this will turn out. Yeah, you can kind of see that, right? That's kind of what the reticle looks like. It's gonna look super bright on the camera for some reason. And nope. You can kind of, oh, I'm trying not to completely blind you. Well, you can see the green there. It does have red as well. It's just hard to see because, like I said, my camera ain't working. It is 1:6, so that's a good bit of zoom. It is a little heavy, not gonna lie. This gun is definitely not light, but I wasn't exactly planning on it being light anyway. The flashlight came off of another scope, technically. It's just a little cheap flashlight. I'm not too worried about it. I'll probably end up getting a different one. But not too bad. I would definitely buy another one. I actually kind of want to buy a AR pistol. And I also want to buy a AR-10. Technically, well, it's not technically an AR-10, but an AR rifle and 308. The AR rifle and 308, I'm thinking about the M&P10. It's fairly cheap and looks like a pretty good deal. But the AR pistol, I'm thinking about getting through Palmetto State Armory. Because like I said, they are pretty cheap. They make pretty good stuff. So, I am thinking about that. I'm going to put it back together real quick, and then I'll tell you just a tiny bit more about it. Alright, so I'm going to do a trigger pull real quick, and then I'm just going to tell you a little bit more about AR-15s in general. So, safety is off. Very easy safety, but not so easy it's going to come off by itself. It's going to be a little bit hard to show you, but just a little bit. It's not the super easy trigger, but it doesn't take too much for it to go off. So, I mean, I like it. It's good enough. Let me go ahead and put this, or recock it, and, you know, close it up and everything. Okay, so, here's a little bit about AR-15s. This is an AR-15 rifle. Now, you can get a shorter barrel, under 16 inches. It's not considered a rifle. But if you get say a 10-inch barrel and you keep a rifle stock, that is illegal unless you get a special permit. That permit, I don't know the exact name of it, but it's for an SBR, short-barreled rifle. If you do not have that permit, then having a barrel under 16 inches on a rifle stock is illegal. Okay. If you have that permit, I'm going to say it's like $200 or maybe more. It takes forever for you to get it. And if you want to take the gun across state lines, you have to get permission from that state. Unlike this one, I could carry it into South Carolina, and they wouldn't care. Another thing is, if you have a pistol brace on it, you can use a pistol brace with a rifle barrel, but you have to have a pistol brace with a shorter barrel in order to make it an AR pistol. Now, if it is an AR pistol, then you don't have to get a special permit. But there are certain limits, like if your barrel is not, if it's not 26 inches from, not the flash hider, but from the actual end of the barrel to the buffer tube end, then you cannot put a foregrip on it. You're not technically supposed to shoulder it. And I think there's some other stuff which is kind of stupid to me. But that's kind of somewhat how that works. You might want to double check that. Just to make sure I got all that right. But I know if you don't have the pistol brace and you have a short barrel, that's illegal unless you have a special permit. If you have the pistol brace and a short barrel, then it's an AR pistol, which is legal. And I do believe you can carry that across state lines legally without having to get permission. Another thing is, if you are watching this video, I hope you know this, but technically AR or AR-15 does not stand for assault rifle, assault or automatic rifle. It stands for Armor Light, being the A, and then rifle being the R. Armor Light rifle, if you don't believe me, you can Google it. Armor Light invented the AR-15 with the M16, as you may know it. Originally, the AR-15 was the original M16, but the military redesignated the AR-15 into the M16. It's getting windy, I don't want it to fall over. And then they modified it a bunch, and this is now your AR-15. It's kind of the same way with the AR-10. It's pretty much the same thing, but it's just a 10 on the end. Another thing is, what makes this an assault rifle, if I remember correctly, is, well, anyway, what legally makes an assault rifle as far as the U.S. government is concerned is if it fires more than one round with a single pull of the trigger, a single movement of the trigger. So if I set this down, let's say I pull the trigger, I'm holding the trigger down, I pull the trigger, I hold the trigger down, one round fires, and then it stops. It recycles, chambers a new round, but it stops, it doesn't fire again. That's legal. If I pull the trigger and it fires, cycles, fires again, even if it only does it twice, then that is considered to be illegal. Unless you have a special permit, which I think is you can only get in certain states, and it's very hard to get. But normally speaking, if it fires more than one round with a pull of the trigger, then that is illegal. Now there is a, I don't know the exact name, but I know the Fostech Echo 2 is a trigger that does it. When you pull it in, it'll fire a round. When you release the trigger, it will fire a round. Technically, that is illegal because you're only moving the trigger once. You move the trigger in, that's one movement of the trigger, it fires once. You release the trigger, that's one movement of the trigger, it fires again. So technically, that is legal. But that's kind of how that works. So if you didn't know that, then that's kind of how that works. Again, double check all the laws, but as long as it only fires one round when you pull the trigger, you'll be fine. But I do recommend checking the laws in your state, because here in Georgia, we are allowed to have 30 round magazines, 50 round magazines. There's no limit. I know in certain states there are limits. Like New York, I do believe, has a 10 round limit. Personally, I think it's stupid, but you know. But there's certain limits. Suppressors as well. If I remember correctly, you can legally buy a suppressor with no special permit, but you cannot put it on your gun without a permit registered to that gun. If that gun is not registered to be silenced or suppressed, technically, then it is illegal. So that's kind of how that works. Again, double check your laws in your state. But again, I mean, I'll probably end up buying another one. I like it. I may show my brother's AR one of these days. He has, like I said, a SIG. It's also 5.56. So I may show his. I'll have to double check with him, make sure he's good with that. I think that's pretty much going to be it for this video. And bye.